Brian's Beat.
What do you do with the ashes after a loved one has been cremated? Throw them out to sea, or as we see here, the whole box apparently ended up in the Atlantic Ocean, and then by way of floating through the water onto the Acushnet River and the rocks behind the river loft. What would you do? What do you do? What have you done? Hello.
Hey, I'll bet you they never realized you were going to get such a good trip.
You never know. You remember when Ted Kennedy was finally laid to rest, that marathon tour that they had with this coffin going from Boston through all the neighborhoods, looping around. That man went on a whirlwind trip just to get home.
Yeah, but he didn't even come close to this woman here.
Oh, no, you're right.
Hey, who knows where she's been? Unbelievable. Let me tell you, Brian, my wife and I bought a couple of cemetery plots years ago just so the kids would be saddled with any of that, anything expensive or anything else. And over the years, we built a nice little retirement home over in Fairhaven out in the middle of the woods, and we've become very, very fond of our woods over there. And after years of taking care of other people's graves and everything else, my wife and I decided last year, we said, you know what, we're going to take those two plots that we have in a beautiful cemetery on the river, and we're going to trade them in for the price of being cremated, and then our children can take us out in the backyard, just spread us out over there and not have any expense whatsoever, and will not feel guilty about not having to go and take care of a headstone or a grave area. If they want to visit us, they can come by and look in the woods and say, there's Mom and Dad.
I'm not sure that you can just spread those ashes. There might be a health hazard. Yeah, I know you're laughing.
Hey, with what my wife will tell you I'm full of, it'll be great fertilizer for the ground.
508-996-0500. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I got another funny story for you.
Okay.
About a few years back, a friend of my mother-in-law's, her husband passed away. She had him cremated, and when she got the box, she put it in the back seat of her car. And my mother-in-law and her would go to the mall, and when she got out of the car, she would go, "Now, George, I'm going into Sears, and I come back in about an hour to an hour and a half," and then shut the door and go in. And one day my mother-in-law said to her, "Why do you do that?" And she said, "Because when George was alive, he used to tell me, 'Oh, Mildred, I'm going to go into whatever store. I'll be back in 15 minutes.' Inevitably, he'd come back in an hour to an hour and a half.
Oh.
So she said, now it's payback time."
No. Is it always, so the ashes are always there in the back seat?
Yep. The ashes were there in the back seat, and she put a seat belt on them.
Oh. That's hardcore.
So that the box wouldn't roam around the seat.
My goodness. That's pretty hardcore.
I would say. Then you think about it, and how many hours did she spend in the car waiting for George to come back?
I don't know. It's amazing how people want to get this payback.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's better that she gets the payback this way than maybe putting him out of his misery while he was alive.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, thanks for the call. I do appreciate it. So, again, I as morbid as it might sound, it is a Friday. We can be a little morbid. It's Earth Day. So what do you do with the cremated remains afterwards? Why are we talking about this? And again, I can understand not everybody can hear every minute of every program. So let me just explain. There's this guy, George Silva. After work, he works over at Highlander Foods, the low road over by the Route 18, heading toward downtown New Bedford. He works over at Highlander. One day he gets back home, I think it was Tuesday this past week, and he's outside enjoying the fresh air, the warmth, and he looks over by the rocks on the bank near of the Acushnet River, not far from where he lives, and he sees a green box. So he walks over to the box. He opens up the box, and he looks inside. And what does he see? A plastic bag that's sealed The bag has a tag that reads Rosemont Crematorium. After a little investigating, George finds out that it's the remains of somebody from New Jersey, and he's taking the route of making sure those remains get back to the crematorium, and I guess the people that work at the crematorium will make sure that the remains get to the rightful owner. Can you imagine you own the rights to these ashes? But seriously, folks, my mother's ashes, I still have them. They just happen to be in a storage bin right now because, quite frankly, in the motorhome, there just isn't enough room. Mom, I love you, but I don't want you spilling over in the motorhome. I hope you understand. Hello.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian. I'm excellent.
I got to be careful to not to incriminate myself. Someone who's very closely related to me works there at the station and is probably sitting mere feet from you. But hearing all these stories are kind of making me chuckle. I've got one too. Maybe 5-6 years ago, my own father passed away, and my mother had preceded him, and she was cremated, and we spread her ashes off the coast of Fort Phoenix. That was their favorite place. And since my father passed away, we got his ashes, put them in the box, and we have them in the house. And I've got them on the on top of the cabinet in the dining room because we haven't found the time for all the family to get together to spread his ashes. And so for I don't know how many, 5-6 years, they've been sitting there just watching us, waiting.
Well, what else can they do? I mean, then it's not like they're going to run out of the house.
I drew a pair of eyeballs on there so that everybody look up and say, yep, Dad's watching us.
Oh, jeez.
I know it's twisted.
You know what, though? What are you going to do?
Sooner or later
you know
we'll
what?
get it done.
You have to lighten it up. I mean, father to you for so many years. I'm sure you miss him. I'm sure the family misses him. But we all remember that little cunning thing about mom or dad that they know that you will always associate them with. So why not highlight it?
Knowing they both had a pretty good sense of humor, I don't think he'd mind all that much.
Good. Glad to hear it. Thank you much for your call. I do appreciate it. 508-996-0500. Hello.
Yes. Buy a niche in a mausoleum for the ashes.
Buy a mausoleum? How much does that cost?
Oh, I don't know because I bought it in the 90s.
How much was it then?
Oh, you wouldn't. Truthfully, I don't remember.
Are we talking 4 digits? 5 digits?
No, not 5. I bought 2 niches. One for myself and one for my honey. And
how does that make you feel? You're buying your own little home there.
Well, at least I know where I'm going.
Huh.
And my name is there in my birth year, you know? So, hey, because that's the way it is.
Right.
I don't want to be dumped on in a river. That's me. My girlfriend wants to, but that's, however, her choice.
Right. So you don't want to be wet.
No.
You just want to be standing straight up as much as you can.
Preserved.
Well, if you want to be preserved, why go the cremating route?
Forget it. Stop that. I knew you were going to say that.
Wouldn't you rather just go to medical science?
No. No.
You don't want to end up like Ted Williams. They take the head off.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say old
I'm
Ted.
sorry.
I know.
You can get a little morbid over these things. You can get a little absent-minded about it, too, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah.
So, are you going to be cremated and put in the mausoleum, or are you going to... Okay, you are. You just said yes.
My niche is there also.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you picked out the urn also?
No, I have not done that.
You're going to let everybody else do it, or are you going to do it yourself?
I may, because I have to make some arrangements, because my sister-in-law just made her arrangements, so I figure, hey, I might as well do it too.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Is that tough to make that type of an arrangement?
I kind of think so, but she did it, so, you know.
If she can do it, you can do it.
That's it.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate the call. Hello.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Brian.
I have a combination ashes, which is actually bone meal, and Earth Day combination story for you.
Uh-oh.
Almost 3 years ago, my mom passed, and she was cremated. and they're actually not ashes. It is bone meal.
Bone meal?
Yep. That is what comes back. As the gentleman said a little while ago, it depends on the crematorium, but sometimes you may actually find little chunks of bone in there. So what I did was mix it with some potting soil and dig a giant hole in my yard, and I put it in with that and planted a rose bush.
A rose bush?
Mm-hmm. Blooms beautiful every year, and I have my mom in my yard, and I see the beautiful roses, and I think of her.
Well, that works. I wonder about the legalities of what you've done. Only because of what I ran into with the folks in Chicago. Now, Chicago could be different. It could be one of those unionized things where they're trying to soak me for more money. Whatever the case may be, it didn't work for them. But I'm wondering if we are allowed to take those ashes and just bury them in the ground. I take them out and spread them into the ground. But I'm glad to see that you kind of recycled, for lack of a better term.
Exactly. You can go to any gardening center around here and buy bone meal. So
human bone meal?
I don't really know. I've never looked at it.
My guess it would be around here, probably fish bone meal.
Probably.
Interesting. I got to check this out a little bit more now that I'm having this conversation. Thank you much for your call and your comments.
Brian's Beat.